Welcome to What to Do. This is a great night, I guess. We have a fair coming up, and we have a big event at the Community Center that's happening. Yeah. So I guess you fair guys want to talk first, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Introduce yourself for the people who don't know you.
All right. I am Jeannie Warner. I'm the president of the Fair Board.
And I'm Katie Kamler. I'm a horticulture specialist for MU Extension.
And both of you are very good at it.
Oh, thank you.
So just start talking and we'll butt in when we want. Okay?
Who wants to start?
Well, I guess I'll start because the chicken fry is tomorrow night. So 4-H is heavily involved in county fairs. While I don't have direct involvement with 4-H, I was a 4-H'er, and of course, working for Extension, we all work together, and 4-H is a part of Extension. So the chicken fry is their annual fundraiser, and that happens tomorrow night at the KC Hall from 4 to 6:30 p.m. And it's a great meal, so come out and enjoy some chicken and support the 4-H. And then after that, the 4-H exhibits show up at the county fair. They get judged on Friday morning, and that's a part I am involved in. And it's always fun to see what 4-H has to exhibit. And then the livestock stuff starts on the weekend and judging that. And then the auction is Saturday evening.
So talk about the auction.
So the 4-H'ers raise livestock, so that, and I'm not sure what all they have yet this year. I haven't quite heard, but I know steers, hogs, chickens, rabbits, goats, maybe some sheep. I'm not sure. So they get to exhibit those animals. They've raised those animals. They've worked with those animals, and then they get to sell them. And the St. Genevieve community is always great about supporting our youth and buying those animals. So it's always great to see that support and everybody coming out for the kids.
The fair's very special, and it's been going on a very long time, and that's something you're celebrating this year, isn't it?
Yes, we're celebrating 80 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's great.
So it's pretty cool. Yep. So, best place to be is the fair. So,
we need to introduce Mr. Ruzicka too, in terms of, because he's already come into the conversation.
Sure, right.
And we welcome that.
Okay, well, thanks.
Presiding Commissioner.
Yes, and thanks for having me on. It's great to be here. It's been a while since I've been on.
It has been.
In fact, this room is like all fresh now. It was never this nice when I was on the board, but I'm happy for
Yeah.
But we're real happy. The county is always, it's a great time to celebrate our heritage and to show off all the great things that happen in this county. And we're immensely grateful for what you all do, and all the volunteers, couldn't even begin to name them, 4-H and all the people that chip in. There's been more improvements done to the fairgrounds this year, which is all donated stuff, and they're great projects. And each year the grounds have been getting a little better. The county had to do a bunch of work up there too. It's a lot of work for just a couple days a year, and it's over so quick, but we're happy about it, and we look forward to it. I'll be up there, and it'll be a good time.
They're special days, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
I'm a relative newcomer here, but you remember the fair from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yep, sure do. Many years ago.
And she told us before the cameras started that she used to win prizes. And now you're being very shy about talking about that. So go for it, girl.
Yeah, let's hear.
Yeah, well, they used to have exhibits like they do now, and we could enter them. So I've got several ribbons, first, second, and thirds. Yeah.
Was that for your
Mostly
artwork?
second. No, that was for, I don't even remember what the awards were for. Been so long. Probably been 70 years.
There's all kinds of competitions in the exhibit hall. I know that there's been an art competition and a photography competition.
Isn't there still art?
as far
When
as
I
know.
judged,
Yes.
there was, yeah.
Last year there was a young lady who made crocheted a dress.
Just,
And that was awesome.
That took a minute or two.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it was beautiful.
The exhibits are really outstanding, and I think that a lot of people think of the fair and they think of the food and all of that kind of thing. But that exhibit hall is a real highlight of the fair.
Yes.
Gives you a chance to see what the people in St. Genevieve County are capable of, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's really neat to see what everyone's done. And just as the kids with their steers and hogs and their animals, which they put so much time and love and effort into. And sometimes, like my granddaughter who sleeps with her steer,
That's for another show.
Yeah, but she just everyone puts so much time and effort into their stuff.
Yeah.
and that's a job for those kids to be committed to raising animals.
Yes.
A lot of commitment.
Got to keep after it.
Yeah.
So tell us about the things that are going to be going on.
Well, we're going to have the pageant for the girls. That's going to be starting. Actually, it started tonight. They're doing like a girls' night out. And so they're doing that for the pageant girls.
And it's a beauty and talent pageant?
Yes, it is. Yes. Then on Thursday, tomorrow, they're going to have interviews and they're going to have a little talent speaking portion of that. And then the next day, they will be doing the judging. So, yeah. And I don't know how many girls are in the pageant right now. Actually, there's still a couple that have been coming in. So
That's great.
Yeah. Of course, the parade we've talked about a little bit, and that's going to be going through the park. And actually, there is something on Facebook that shows the parade route. We've been trying to put as much stuff on Facebook as we can, so everyone knows.
Tell people what to look for on Facebook.
Okay, it is St. Genevieve County Fair. And that's the page, and it will have the schedule on there, which I've got the pamphlet there with the schedule on it. We'll have these at the fairgrounds. And it's got the different events like the demo derby and the truck pull, the tractor pull, and what is involved in that. What kind of tractors, all this kind of good stuff. And it also will have, it has the kids events on there. And I don't know what she posted today, but there's been a lot posted. So
tell us about the demo derby.
The demo derby is probably one of the biggest events that St. Genevieve has.
That's a big draw.
It is.
It always has been.
Biggest. This year they are going to raffle off a rider and a driver rider, 2 different auctions. The money's going to go to Project Graduation 2026.
Very good.
Oh, that's a
Very
good
good.
idea.
That's going to be nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But those guys like to go out there and just beat up their vehicles.
I remember that being very noisy.
It is very noisy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they all love it. I mean, we've got bleachers set up and they're full. The whole side of the hill is full. People bring in their blankets and their chairs and they put them down there before the event starts. So they've got their place and it's a lot. And above the track, above the announcer's booth is going to be the different food vendors. I think that we've got 6 vendors up there now. Of course, it'll be the delicious Valley's pork burgers. They have a stand up there and down by the youth barn, the livestock barn, and the beer stand is going to be up there. So up there,
it's not a
as
fair
well.
without a beer stand.
That's
is it?
right.
Can't have it.
Exactly.
Won't work.
Nope.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the agricultural exhibit, because I think that's something that and I recall I used to go to the fair every year and take pictures for the newspaper. That the kids, my granddaughter loved the chicken She wanted
yes.
to spend a lot of time looking at the chickens and kind of trying to pet the chickens through the fencing. And then she got older and loved the demo derby. But I think that's a normal
change.
progression.
Yes.
But the agricultural exhibits are actually different from the livestock exhibit, right?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that in the exhibit hall, in the youth building, there's some people who bring in vegetables or flowers or, flower arrangements. I don't know what all they're bringing in this year because they don't come in with them until tomorrow afternoon. And so I always look forward to seeing all those. It's pretty neat. So, and did you say anything about the contest that Missouri Extension has?
So, as far as their fundraiser?
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, the Extension Council, which Jeannie was a member of, she term limited out on us.
Yes.
But they do a fundraiser for youth and for the council, which is involving chickens. Back to chickens. It's chicken chip squares. So you buy a ticket and you get a number, and if the chicken poops on your square, you get something for it.
This is the kind
And
of
you
thing
went from cows to chickens. Huh?
Yes, we did. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yes. Doesn't take as much.
Takes less space.
Less space,
Right.
less
Less
chance,
cleanup. Yeah.
chance of running away, less layout issues,
And usually less time.
less time.
This county has a lot of incomers, those of us who have moved here from the city, and would never have dreamed that there was something like that going on. The county fair is sort of a cultural experience for those of us who did not grow up in a county that has actual farms and where people raise things.
A lot of times the county fair is the only person's exposure to being close to a steer or a hog or any of that, for sure.
Exactly.
It's also an opportunity, since Extension is all about education. We are here to educate. That is our entire purpose. And so that is also a way to, not only are the kids getting an education by raising livestock or doing projects that they're entering in the building, it's also an opportunity to educate the public on this is what agriculture is and this is how it works.
This is what puts food on your table.
Yep, and this is, and 4-H isn't just about livestock either. There are lots of other things that 4-Hers do and are involved in science and all sorts of technology and lots of great stuff. And 4-H is the reason that I work for Extension now, because I was a 11-year 4-H member, and I saw what Extension did, and that's why I'm here now.
Very good. We're glad that you are.
Definitely. It does a wonderful job.
The fair schedule also includes music.
Yes, we have Crossroads on Friday night.
Tell us about them if you know anything about
the
them.
Bennetts, yeah.
Okay.
Nicole and Eric Bennett.
They are fantastic.
Awesome. Yes, they are fantastic. They'll be set up in the tent that's right next to the beer stand. And they play.
Eric will like that.
Yeah, yes, he will. Yeah. They play all kinds of different kinds of music, from, just Southern rock to country. So they're really
Their harmonies are just amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For those out there who don't know, Eric was the chief of police
Yes, he
here
was.
for a
Long
number
time.
of years, and it was always talented. But I don't think anybody knew how talented until after he retired.
Right.
And he got it naturally from Dad, because Dad was also, was he a chief of police, or was he just
I don't know. I believe he was, but he was in law enforcement his whole life and played the
think
guitar.
He was the sheriff
I think you're right.
in
think he might have been,
St. Francis,
St. Francis County.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stormy.
Stormy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicole is just a lovely.
What a voice. Huh?
Oh my God. Lovely lady, lovely voice. Just amazing. Then Saturday afternoon, because we don't want to compete with the auction, we have the band from noon to 4, and it's Sam Hadel. And he plays a lot of different things.
Yes.
Bob Weiler is the drummer, and I'm trying to think who else is in there. Can't think who else is in that
There is a
band.
third person.
There is, but I can't think who it
think
is right off the top of my head. But they play some awesome music too. So yeah.
So there's stuff for adults and there's stuff for kids. Talk a little bit more about what there is for kids besides the exhibits, the activities.
Okay. Yeah, the activities that we've got for the kids is we're going to have some inflatables that they can get into and have fun with. Laser tags.
For people who do not have children or grandchildren, an inflatable sounds a little odd.
They have like slides and they've got just bounce houses, stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know what we're getting yet. We've got somebody coming in that's going to get those put up for us. We've also got laser tag, and that was very popular last year.
And I have no idea what that is.
It's basically like paintball.
Okay.
I guess, but it's lasers.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Nope, doesn't hurt. But I think they've got some kind of special vest or something they wear. I'm not exactly sure, but I would assume so. And if they get shot, then they have to get out of the arena.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's all laser. We're also going to have a petting zoo.
Oh, yes.
But the little kids, we have things on Sunday for them where we've got a quarter scramble. And the quarter scramble is where we get wood shavings, put it on a plastic tarp, and we put the kids in age groups and just throw a bunch of quarters in there and mix it all up and just watch them dig for it. And
they don't get in the mud anymore, huh?
No. We also have pedal pull, which are the little pedal tractors with a sled, just like the big tractors do. And as they're driving along in their pedal tractors, the sled weight will go up, which will make it heavier. And they're just trying to get to that finish line, and some make it, some don't, but they are trying their hardest. It is so fun to watch. Then last year we started, or 2 years ago, we started tricycle rodeo, where they race tricycles down a track.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. So it's the little kids have lots of fun with that. Yeah. And I think while that's all going on, the big kids are watching the tractor pulls.
Right.
Okay.
Over in our arena.
Yeah. I had never seen a tractor up close before I moved to St. Genevieve County. And I remember the first fair that we went to and being just amazed by the tractor pull. Who knew that the tractors could do that and that people would want to? It was an amazing thing. And as I said earlier, we have a lot of incomers here. A lot of people from outsiders who have come in. Here's one, I'm one. Yeah. Who I think maybe can get a feel for who and St. Genevieve is, what St. Genevieve is, by attending the fair.
Yes, definitely.
Most of us don't get to go out and walk in the fields and talk to the farmers and see what they're doing, because everybody's busy with their lives and their jobs and things in town. And the county fair is, I think, a wonderful way to get a sense that this is still an agricultural community.
Yes.
And proud of it.
Yes.
And I think
And
that's important. And good at it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born and raised on a farm and know all about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have other memories of the fair, I'll bet.
Probably some. Yeah.
Probably some. But you're not going to tell us, huh? You need to tell us.
Mostly the rides. They used to have
Yeah,
a
unfortunately.
real Ferris wheel and real.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have been trying for the last 3 years to try to get a carnival. But after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, I should say, a lot of the carnivals shut down.
Disappeared. Yeah.
When we went to one of the conventions that they had, they told us that 65% of the carnivals shut down.
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness.
And so the rest of them
Are busy. all
are
the
so
time.
busy, and there was nothing that was available during the weekend bar fair. So, I mean, if we come across one, we're going to try our best to get it,
Yeah.
but it's just very
Yeah,
difficult.
it's probably been, 7 or 8 years since
A carnival.
the carnival was there
Mhm.
for the fair.
Well, and
Yeah.
getting one on affordable terms is a problem too.
Yes,
'Cause
exactly.
I've been just on the perimeter of that when it's been negotiated, and it's just hard to find one that doesn't want some sort of a guarantee that
Oh,
you can't
right.
fulfill, and then what if it rains, and then you still owe them the money? It's complicated,
It is.
you know.
It is.
Which hats off to y'all on the board for all the work you do, because it takes you all year to get it set up for the next year.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try to find what we can improve on
Yeah.
in the fairgrounds. You know,
Right.
we like I had told somebody else that we got a permanent sound system now at the fair, which we did not have. We'd always have to rent a sound system. So now we do have. That was our goal for this year, was to get a
Well,
permanent
that's
sound system.
wonderful. Yeah.
Good.
So we just got to find out what we're going to do for next year, and you know, just try to make whatever improvements we can.
And there's always a big crowd,
Yes.
especially the demo derby.
Yes.
The tractor pull.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Truck pull also
Yeah.
draws quite a crowd.
Do they?
Yes. So, so up in the arena where the tractor, the truck, and the demo derby, tractor, truck pull, and the demo derby are going to be, there's plenty of food vendors up there. Then we also have food vendors down by the barns where the livestock are.
Okay.
Talk some more about that, because I'll bet people have favorite fair food.
Well, the
Probably.
very first and foremost favorite is
Is the
Valley
pork
The pork burgers.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is something that those guys are back there working so hard to get all those pork burgers out. And there have been times they've run out and had to go and get
Right.
more.
Mhm.
We've got other carnival or fair food, you know, we're going to have lemon shake-ups, and we have a guy that makes homemade ice cream.
Ah.
And one that has fish, chicken, and I think it's fish and chicken that he's got that's going to be offered this year. There's a couple of food trucks up on the upper level that is going to have the hot dogs, curly fries, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah.
And the ice girls will be
Oh
there.
yeah, Luna's.
So is it just Luna's or
No,
is it
and
both of
Kona.
them? Yeah.
Kona's going to be there too.
Yeah.
So, and we
So-
do have vendors that set up and sell their products. We have everything from one lady who's coming in to do hair, and little girls love that, to have their hair done in the puff braids and
Oh, I bet.
all
yeah.
this. And then there's one that does Tupperware.
Face painting?
I don't know if we got a face painter.
Oh, really?
I don't know if we did. I'd have to
Okay.
go through and look. But there's just lots and lots of different things to do.
Yeah.
Oh, and the straw slide. We've got the straw slide too.
I remember the straw slide from when my granddaughter was small.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the first time she got on it, I was terrified. I just had no idea how this was going to work.
Uh-huh.
And the kids love that.
Oh, they do. Oh, yeah. They grab that piece of cardboard and they're down that slide in a little bit of no time.
Yeah.
And they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been saving up my cardboard from my business for all year so that they have all different sizes. There's some of them that go down 2 and 3 at a time. So it's lots of fun to watch them.
Okay, this is going to be a question that you may be embarrassed to answer. What's your favorite part of the county fair? You won't offend anybody because,
That's a tough one.
yeah.
It really is. Being a motorhead, I love the Derby, and I like the truck pull. I probably am more of a truck pull guy than a Derby guy. That's probably the favorite part. I love the music. There's nothing I don't like. I can't really pick one thing, but it's all, like you said, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And,
Iris, what's your favorite memory of the fair? And what do you like best?
Probably the ride. years ago.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
fun when you were a teenager, like in high school and that.
Yeah.
And Katie?
The Ferris wheel and the food that they had, just all kind of neat things. And it used to be out where CVS is, and
Yes.
out in that area.
I heard that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a park at one point. They
Rozier
had-
Park?
They had a big pavilion there.
Was it Rozier Park?
I think that's what they called it. Yeah.
I looked.
Yeah, they had a big pavilion there, and
I tried to find information in the archives, the newspapers, to see what I could find about that first fair. And unfortunately, the Fair Play, which was the newspaper of record, and I don't think the Herald had gone into business yet at the point when the first fair happened, they did not publish during the period of World War II, and so there aren't any reports about what the fair was like that very first year. And wouldn't it be wonderful to know that? You know, you've been going to fairs since you were
A little kid.
Yeah.
Because I was in 4-H. So.
Favorite part?
So now I would say as an adult, it's watching those kids learn and that light bulb spark and that type of thing.
Did we introduce you? I don't know that we did.
Yeah,
okay.
we did.
Okay, very good.
But you know, it's different being involved as an adult as you were as a youth, but I still enjoy entries and all of that stuff. I don't enter here in St. Genevieve because I live here, and so I still enter stuff in a different county fair.
Okay.
So I'm still involved. I go and judge, and it's also fun to be a judge and get to see all the different things that are entered. Sometimes it's difficult to be a judge also.
Yeah, very much so.
Yes. So depending on some of the entries, some things are easier than others, but I got asked today actually on judging vegetables. So how would you judge this if you had an entry like this? Well, and it was about potatoes, and the potatoes had turned green. I'm like, yep, nope, they need to, that means they've been exposed to the sunlight and they're not edible. So if you are entering vegetables or fruits, it needs to be at peak ripeness. The number needs to be what it says in the fair book. It needs to be uniform. So, and you want to be able to, oh, that looks really good. I want to eat that, right? You don't want to have spots on it. It doesn't need to be dirty, different things like that. So sometimes vegetables are harder to judge than some of the artwork or the handwork or that.
So there's no like the biggest pumpkin in the world thing.
No.
Okay.
No, and the reality is it's July. It's some of that garden produce is hard to come by, you know, and particularly this year when we had a rough spring, so some of that's a little more tricky.
Okay. Yeah. Jeannie.
My favorite right now, and for the last couple of years, has been watching my granddaughter raise her steer and enter him in the fair. And because I know how much work those kids put into their animals. And not only her, but in the parish that I go to, I've got a couple of young ladies that have entries in the fair also. So I'm always asking them how their steer's doing or how their calf. One of them's got a calf that's going to come into the fair. So I think that with being raised on a farm and being exposed to whenever I was young was dairy cattle, and actually I did raise a Holstein from calf on to cow, and so to me it's kind of hits home to watch these kids with their animals. Yeah.
I'll bet there are people out there in TV land who have fair memories.
Oh, probably.
Would you tell them how to call in?
Charlie, can you put the number up on the screen? He'll put it up probably. Yeah.
Because we'd love to hear from anybody, including folks who are new to this whole experience and maybe want to know a little more, although we may not be able to answer their questions. But anybody who has a favorite fair food. I think that we'd like to hear from them, or your favorite activity at the fair, and we'll take a few minutes to see if anybody calls in.
He's got it up now.
Okay, very good.
Hey, the
That's
number's
our
on the
phone number.
screen if anybody's interested in calling in.
And can you see it?
Yep.
Good. Okay. You say it out loud because I can't read it from here.
573-883-7675.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. And we like to have people call in.
So are you still raising pumpkins?
I am, although I got them planted. And then I left for our national conference in Montana for 2 weeks.
Oh.
I came back. There are pumpkins in the weeds, so
Well,
it was clean before I left. And
they'll be shaded a little bit.
So one of these nights, the weed eater's going out there to get rid of some of them. But yes, I still do pumpkins and
One night he came to a show one night, totally pumpkins. What was there, 150 kind or something like that?
Yeah, there's way more than that. So any color, shape, and size.
Yeah.
And you'll come back around Halloween for that again?
Schedule me.
All right. Very good. Very good. Talk a little bit about the economic impact of the agricultural activity in this community on the county. That's not fair. I just threw that at you.
You just threw that at me. Well, obviously any business activity is going to help, but I don't really, it's great that it happens. It's not I'm trying to think of the way to word this. So it's not like when something is sold at a store and we get sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think of what it takes to run a farm, whether it be raising livestock or a dairy farm, or which I don't think there's really any dairy farms.
There are none. No.
Livestock or
Row crop.
row crop. Okay. If you think of everything it takes to do that, there's a lot of money that changes hands, whether it's just keeping the equipment running, doing the activity, fuel that's burned. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of money that changes hands to make all that happen. So, it's a good thing.
So it's a really significant industry
Oh,
in
absolutely.
this county.
Yeah.
We think of ourselves as a tourism community, I think, a lot of the time. And that's a very important thing, but sometimes we neglect the rest of what's important here, which is one of the reasons the fair is so delightful, because it's a reminder every year.
And it's a main source of income for a lot of folks.
It is.
And you'd be amazed at how many times that I have seen people stop on the side of the highway at a cornfield to take a picture of the cornfield.
Because they don't get to see that.
Because they don't see it.
And the hay bales.
And the hay bales.
Beautiful pictures.
One of my
Especially
favorite
at sunset.
questions here just recently, I got a call from a gentleman from Kansas. He said, I was in St. Genevieve over the weekend as a tourist, and I saw this field on my way from St. Genevieve to Farmington, and I cannot figure out what is going on in that field. Can you tell me? Yes, it was cover crops that they had burned back. So he's like, it was a weird color. Yes, I drive by that field also, and they had sprayed the cover crop to plant soybeans in. So he was not familiar with a lot of cover crop from where he was at in Kansas. So it's always an interesting, you never know what question might come into the extension office. Yes. And the other fun one, you talk about stopping for corn and soybean fields. Because I was in Montana, we stopped for sugar beets and potatoes because we don't see big fields of those. So we're like, we've got to stop and check out those crops.
Yeah.
And if you're ever in California, Central California, where they raise garlic, you can't really see it. It's small, but believe me, you can smell it. I mean, it looks like it's right under your nose, because I've driven through rural California.
Oh my goodness.
We always think of Los Angeles and Frisco, but I mean, there's a huge portion of California that's
It's ag.
agricultural,
Oh, yeah.
right, and industrial. And when you're going up, I want to say that's I-5, I think, that runs up through the middle. And I mean, It'll wake you up.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm checking our notes
Yeah.
to see if there's anything else that we particularly wanted to ask you about the fair, but you've covered it very well.
Yeah, well,
Is it-
I do want to say, I want to thank all of our volunteers from the guys, the Special Road District and the
Road and Bridge. Yeah.
Yes, the County Road and Bridge that have kept the grounds beautifully tended. I mean, they are just beautiful.
And the Sheriff's Department.
And the Sheriff's
Mows.
Department that mows, and also, all the way to our volunteers that work all the ticket booths and put the armbands on for the events, and the judges that come in, and, just all of our volunteers. And I cannot go without saying thank you to our football players from both schools that come in. We had a group came in today to help us set up tents and just disperse all of the picnic tables and everything that needs to be done, build the straw slide. And they will be there every morning to clean everything up and make sure that all the trash cans are empty, and if there's anything else that we need to have done before the crowds come.
What a wonderful
That is
example
wonderful.
of the involvement of the various aspects of the community in the fair. That's grand.
Yeah. So they even come and help us clean everything up at the end of the fair on Monday.
Yeah.
When we're doing the reverse of what we did today. So they're very, very good groups of guys. So.
Okay, do the scouts help in any way?
I haven't had any call from the scouts that needed any kind of service hours or anything like that. But we did have one of the scouts, I think it was year before last, that did the beautification of the sign that we've got up by our entrance. Did the flowers around it and all the the landscaping and all that to it. So it was really nice.
Yeah,
So I've got a project for one
good.
of them. If
It
anybody
looks
wants a
very
project,
nice. Yeah.
I got a project for them for next year.
Yeah, give us some hours and the days that this goes on.
Okay. All right. Like I said, we've got our fair pamphlets at the fairgrounds and at numerous different businesses throughout St. Genevieve, St. Mary, Bloomsdale. We've scattered them out all over the place. So like I said, the girls, the pageant stuff is going on this evening as well as tomorrow and Friday, with the 4-H exhibit going on tomorrow evening and the judging on Friday morning. 4-H chicken fry is going to be going on tomorrow night. All of our different exhibits for the animals, the swine show, the cattle, the steer show, and they're going to be doing their showing and then doing the auction on Saturday. All of the other stuff that we've got there for entertainment, the bands that we've got, and of course our main events. So
Maybe say no entry fees, no parking fees.
no, well, there is entry fee for the truck pull,
but not for people coming in.
No, there's no entry fees. We also will have overflow parking at the VFW hall with the trolley going back and forth
That's
on
great.
the night of the Derby.
Yeah.
So that
Great.
way,
Yeah.
You will need it.
yes, they filled up that parking lot.
Now,
as
do
well
they
as
do
around.
the one where the rest home with that also? Do they park up there?
That is basically for a lot of the kids and their parents. They bring in their campers and stay there so that they're closer to their animals.
Animals.
Especially if they
that's
live a
nice.
distance
Yeah.
out of St. John.
Yeah.
Are you selling the chicken?
So I believe there are still some tickets left for that. Yep.
Okay.
So
chicken
they'll be at the
Chicken chip. Yeah.
chicken fry.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
the chicken
tomorrow.
fry. Okay.
Yeah. We thank you for coming and
Okay,
telling us
yeah.
all about fair. It's a very good event for anybody who's never been, anybody out there who's never been, or maybe hasn't been for a couple of years. It sounds like there's a lot more now than maybe 5 or 10 years ago, and it's a unique thing in this county, I think, isn't it? We have art fairs and we have music in a lot of places, and of course it's a big sports community, but this is different from everything else that happens here.
It is.
Yeah. And it's a pretty neat tradition to carry on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for coming.
Yep.
Okay, Randy,
All right.
if you want to talk about,
If you all have something better to do, we're very glad that you came.
Thank you.
And you're very welcome to stay. And
Yeah.
while we grill Mr.
Yes.
Luca.
so
I'm in
you
the hot
can
seat.
talk about the community center
Yes.
and what's going on with the YMCA.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, we entered into a contract, the county, when I say we,
The
St. Genevieve
county.
County, entered into a contract with the YMCA, and they are going to assume the management of the facility. And it's very important. I want everybody in this room, everybody watching, we've issued press releases. And this just happened Monday. The press releases went out yesterday. Social media exploded this morning
It
with a whole
did.
bunch of craziness.
But Don put a
Right, and then it idled down once people
Right.
found out.
Right.
The big rumor is that we sold the property. We did not sell the property. We couldn't sell the property if we wanted to, okay? And we don't want to. We're proud of it, we love it, and we want to keep it going in perpetuity. So it is no secret to anybody the financial troubles the county's been having, and inasmuch as the community center relies on sales tax revenue to make for the county to make the bond payments and to just keep that place open. It is a marvelous facility. We're very proud of it, but it is expensive to keep it running. Not only in payroll and everything, but maintenance. There's not a day that goes by that something out there doesn't need attending, and it's expensive. Plus the overall management, everything that goes on up there. So this puts us in a spot. Well, I have been on the county commission now, this is my 5th year. This has been a concern, a deep concern of all the commissioners, but it was a problem financially before the tax problem, okay? Right. When everything was working, the biggest issue is there was never any money in reserve. And we all know, you can only go on so long. It's just like you at home. If you don't have something put away, what do? Okay? We can't spend money we don't have.
Right.
And that's, we're not like the federal government. We don't print money, so we can't spend money we don't have. So anyway, trying to find a solution to this. Over the years, we have done a lot of things to make it financially better, but there reaches a point where it becomes counterproductive. You also can't grow. And if you're not growing, you're going back, right? So by chance, I want to interject a little story here because I almost felt like this was divine intervention, how this happened. Roughly a year ago, I get a call from a constituent that I did not know. And he says, introduced himself, and he says, you don't know me. He says, but I follow what's going on in the paper, and I see everything. And he goes, we love the community center, but we're really concerned about the financial future. And I said, well, yeah, so am I. He goes, have you ever thought about seeing if the YMCA would be interested in doing a management deal? And then he proceeds to tell me the story of the city of Fenton. City of Fenton, several years ago, built a water park and a community center. And they tried to do it on their own. And it was bleeding them over $1 million a year. And they got in over their head, okay? So through a series of events and talks, they ended up doing a contract with the YMCA to manage it. It's the same thing. They own the property, the YMCA manages. They went from bleeding $1 million a month to now they were running a surplus. I'm sorry, $1 million a year. Now they run a surplus. Okay.
That place is beautiful.
And it's gorgeous. I went up, I reached out to the mayor. He said, come on up, I'll open my books. I'll give you a tour. I went up, I looked at the facility, and he told me how it was not being utilized to its full potential. He told me all the things that weren't optimum. And I felt like I was on Randy, This Is Your Life. Okay? So he gave me a contact number, and I brought my other commissioners in on it. And we had discussions about it, and then we started talks with, I reached out to the YMCA. They toured our facility. We entered into talk, and we talked for a year. You know, this is not a simple thing to put together. But basically the way it works is they will assume all the management duties and all the administrative. The administrative end of this is massive. In the summertime, when their water park's running, we have 185 employees. Try to keep track of all that paperwork. And it's a massive load on the courthouse. They are going to assume all of those duties. They will take care of the day-to-day operation. Next point that's very, very important. No one is losing their job. We would have never entered into this if I thought it was going to be a hatchet job or a cut and run. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't do it. We can't do that to these people, okay? Because they're county employees. Everybody is given the opportunity to retain their job at the current rate of pay, or possibly there's a possibility they could actually be paid more because the Y bases their pay scale on St. Louis numbers, not this. That's not a guarantee, but, and they stress to us, no one will go back. Okay,
that's great.
And that's critical. So the executive director retains his job. All the full-time staff retain their jobs, and that's if they choose to stay. They may decide not to, and that's certainly their prerogative. I can't make anybody stay, but they're given the opportunity.
That's great. Yes.
What we're in a transitional period right now. So between what started yesterday and November 1st, the YMCA is here every day. And they're shadowing people, and they're observing and they're interviewing. What are your job duties? How do you do this? How do you do that? The goal is to make this as seamless as possible. We want everybody to stay. We're going to make it as seamless as possible. And because of the scale that they operate on, and we're talking about a nonprofit organization that has been in existence for 175 years. They're all over the place. They're even outside the U.S. I don't know everywhere, but within our country, they've been here that long. So, to make it as seamless as possible, but because of the size and because of their sheer experience at running these things, they have methods and operations that are maybe more streamlined, or maybe there's better ways to do this. Because in the end, even though they're a nonprofit, the goal is to make it financially as efficient as possible. People sometimes think of a nonprofit. Well, the county's a nonprofit. Okay, we don't make money. Just because you're a nonprofit doesn't mean you lose money. In fact, it's the opposite. In order to keep a charity, and I know you're involved in charities, it has to be sustainable. So there always has to be money put away, just like the fair. You don't just stop at the end of it. You gotta have a nest egg, keep it going for perpetuity. And that's our goal here, and that's always been my goal. I have taken heat from various people who thought that I was against the community center. Couldn't be farther from the truth. My goal is to make it, okay, it's been there 25 years. I hope it's another 25. I won't live to see that, but I hope it goes on forever. But I want to get it on a footing where it can go there. So that's the whole plan behind it. So I talked about the employment. Those people all get to keep their jobs.
Can you talk a little bit about programming? And
programming for right now, everything again is going to try to stay seamless. If it's offered now, that they want to stick with it. And they're very much oriented on the different community, because St. Genevieve is not Fenton. It's not Carondelet Park. It's not Ferguson. St. Genevieve is St. Genevieve. So they have them dotted up and down the highway. Each one, while they operate on the same basic principle, is geared toward whatever that community wants. And they very, very much want input from the community. What do you want to see? So we want to retain what we have, and the goal is to grow it and have extra little programs that go along. Swimming lessons, which haven't been offered for a long time. Tot drop. We used to have tot drop, where like a mom wants to go work out, she can have somebody look after her child while she goes and works out. There's a lot of things that we had and for whatever reason went away. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying we want to bring those things back, and we want to have extra events geared to the community outside of sports. We love sports. The sporting stuff is going to continue. But there are other things that can draw families in. It's family oriented. Movie night, okay? And for a small fee, you watch a movie. Or special nights at the water park, or there's so many things that can be done if you have a creative mind and you know how to do it. And the Y is great at doing that.
Do you all have a plan or a schedule yet in terms of getting input from the community?
Okay, so that takes me to the next thing, and I'm glad you asked that. A week from tonight, so next Wednesday, the 16th, 6 o'clock, at the Community Center Sports Complex, in the meeting room, we're going to have a town hall. Okay,
that would be
it's
great.
open to the public. Representatives from the YMCA will be there. The county commissioners will be there. We're going to give a presentation. After the presentation, we're going to field questions. And I know there's going to be a lot of questions. Hopefully what we tell everybody, just like me explaining this to you tonight, it pretty much takes the temperature down. And then everybody goes, oh, that sounds really good. And that's our goal. That's what we want. And above all, perpetuity, so that we can get this thing on a path where it starts to accrue some cushion. And then when it does that, it does two things. It ensures your future, and it also allows you to grow. We've all had great ideas, commissioners, and we've talked, with other people about, well, why couldn't we do this or why couldn't we do that? But then when you sit down and figure out what it's going to take to do it, and you go, where's the money coming from? Okay, so this is a way to get that money to make those things happen. Is it going to happen overnight? No, it won't. But we are super impressed with the leadership at the Y. They've been wonderful people to work with so far, and there will be, to varying degrees, somebody there from the Y every day until November 1st, working with the existing staff, and they're there to answer questions and allay fears and just make this thing as smooth as possible.
Right. Now, on the community center, the sports center, and what else?
Water park.
Just the water park, not the Challenger.
Well, the Challenger Field, the Challenger Field is unique because that's its own entity, and that was created by
that Special Olympics.
Yeah, but those fields are also used for other activities.
Right, they are.
Right, and they will continue to be. But
will that be under their jurisdiction too?
Well, in conjunction with the county, but the special needs still their priority. That's their priority. That field was built by donations. That was spearheaded by Jason Schott.
Right.
8 or 10 years ago?
Right.
He and a ton of volunteers put a lot of sweat equity, and people from the community stepped up and donated. The Y is aware of it. I think they manage one similar to it somewhere else. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They understand the concept.
Okay.
And it's very important. I've imparted to them that the original folks that built that and what that was built for, that takes priority. And that's written in.
And that would be the same for the playground too. Exactly.
It's open to everybody.
What about the library?
Okay. Library is a tenant now. It will continue to be a tenant.
The same with Sunshine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, extension office. We talked with them today. It's all just, it's staying just like it is. There will be changes down the line, I would imagine, because we've had brief talk about it. There may be some things that are reorganized as far as interior space, but that's not going to happen right away. You're not going to see any huge alterations. But down the line, if it grows, which is what we want, you may see some space reutilization.
And new programs.
And new programs, which are going to require new things. Okay? So.
Yeah.
So is there enough employees to implement the new programs?
Yeah. Well, there will be. Because again, and that's an ongoing thing. And as this progresses, there'll be probably additional staff required to do it. The other wonderful thing is, and this is very important, and the reason this works is because of the magnitude and the size of the YMCA. It's the economy of scale. Things like pool chemicals, any consumable that you need, they have connections and they buy the stuff in a quantity.
Right.
You can't even begin to come close going to Sam's Club. A lot of stuff we go to Sam's Club for, or we do have connections, and yeah, we get a discount because of the volume, but it's nowhere near the level they're at. So our operating costs go down. That's a good thing. You got it. Operating costs just eat you alive. Consumable things. So that's another plus.
Yeah.
So when can people find out more about this?
A week from tonight. So it would be July 16th, 6 p.m. at the sports complex in the meeting room. And I would imagine the TV station will probably be there.
Oh,
they know
yes.
about it. I'm sure they'll film it.
Charlie will be there.
Yeah.
Charlie or Doc will be there.
One will be there. Yeah, for sure. So,
and we thank you for giving us a preview.
I'm glad you did. It was perfect that you called today because we've been, our heads are spinning trying to get all of this out so that, you want transparency. I don't want anybody to think that anything's being kept from them.
Right.
Because
when
it's
I
not.
saw that on Facebook.
Oh, I woke up this morning and I looked at that and I was like,
my
oh
gosh,
no.
what's going on? We got to get somebody on here.
But one thing that I've learned is on Facebook, when things blow up like that, is it's best to just let the dust settle. I have learned the hard way about getting in the middle of some of those, and even when you give them the fact,
they don't want.
They're all yelling so much.
Yeah.
Nobody listens. Nobody pays any attention, and it's already cooled off from 12 hours ago.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think posting that you were going to be here tonight, and also with Dawn.
Yeah, Don. I'm going to do an interview with Don Pritchard
on radio,
and it'll be played next week. So that's another good one.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people listen to the radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably more than listen to this.
And because we draw, and like say the water park, we draw from a fairly large area.
Oh, definitely.
So there's press releases, and there'll be things in surrounding newspapers up Jefferson County, St. Francis County, Perry County, radio stations, the radio stations that are over there. My one associate's going to do an interview, and it'll be broadcast on those stations. So as the word gets out, I think people are going to start to feel really good about it.
Yeah, probably.
This is a huge opportunity, and it's better than I could have ever expected because our hands really were tied as far as ever making any improvements.
Yeah, I'm surprised when they got all that money that they didn't put some in reserve and keep it. Why they weren't thinking? Well,
I don't know how much time we have left, but there were. Of course, there is the foundation. The foundation still exists because there was the initial money to build the water park.
Right.
Okay, and then there was a tax issue, to make not the water park, the first building, the original building.
Yeah.
Then there was the 2018 bond issue and all that. But there was also a fund set aside, which still exists, which was to keep this in operation in perpetuity.
Was it the
Boston? It was part of the Boston estate.
Okay.
And there's a separate board that handles that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there was, I want to say, roughly $3 million in it. Unfortunately, what happened over time, the way it was set up is there was never to be more taken out of it than the interest accrued. It was to live in perpetuity. Right. But there was an exception in there for emergencies. And it had to be approved by their board, Community Center board, and the commission. Well, over the last 25 years, things have happened. Okay, so the money's been dipped into. The exact amount, I don't know. Last time I checked on it, it was about $1.4 million. It's invested. It accrues interest.
Right.
But $1.4 million is a lot of money. But let's face it, $1 million doesn't go very far anymore.
No.
When the roof got torn off in that storm, that ended up costing us about $900,000 because the insurance didn't cover it.
Why didn't it cover it?
It said it was too old.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, that's a story for another time.
Well, how come you have to pay insurance?
Well, I know. But anyway, had we not had the ARPA money, we were able to use it for that. And that's another thing. We spent a lot
Tell
of
people what the ARPA money
ARPA
is.
was American Relief. I forget. It was the federal money that came in after the first COVID money, and this was the second part of that. Okay, I forget what the acronym stands for, but we were able to use that money. There were some very tight parameters about what you could use it for. We used that for a whole lot of improvements. We spent a lot of money out there in the last year. You notice the parking lot's been redone, the porches were rebuilt and painted, new roof, the bricks were redone, as far as sealing and tuck pointing and all of that. That was all ARPA money because the county didn't have it.
Right.
The money had to be allocated and then it had to all be expended.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. Okay. And you never get any more, and that'll probably never happen again. Thank God we had it, you know? So what we want to try to do, again, that's part of this, get it on better financial footing so that then it's not if, it's when the next thing happens that needs attention. We have the money.
Will you be able to talk to people at the meeting next week about, are the memberships going to go up?
I mean, we can address it.
You probably don't know.
We
at
don't
this
know
point.
exactly where, and again, they're analyzing it, and they've been analyzing it. It will be based on the community. So one of the rumors out there, oh, St. Louis prices, nobody's going to be able to go. Not going to work like that. Will they? I don't know if they're going to go up. Our goal is to keep it as low as possible. So it's, for anybody that's thinking it's going to be big city prices, it's not.
That's what I heard today.
That's what people are worried about.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that everybody goes there when they don't even know that that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Okay. So at our town hall, the Y will address,
And hopefully people will attend it.
I hope so.
Where they
I
can
think it
ask
will
questions.
be. I think it will be, but at least we know we did what we could to get it out to the public,
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And we appreciate you coming here this evening.
I'm happy to be
on
here.
short notice.
Yeah, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to it
No,
because
that's good.
every time you talk about it, it helps people to understand it a little bit
Right,
more.
right.
Yeah.
So
And now we have to encourage everybody to listen to tonight's show.
absolutely,
And that's on YouTube.
it's on YouTube.
So pass it, anybody that's out there listening, pass it
Yep.
around.
Right. If you saw it and you want somebody else to see it, go to YouTube. It's easy as could be.
Yeah.
And all you do is Google what's new or search for what's new. Put this date in it, July 9th, 2025, and it should pop right up.
Right.
We've been requested to announce one more thing this evening before we close down. Last month, we talked a little bit about the threat that the St. Genevieve Ferry might be closing down.
Mhm.
And tomorrow evening, the city board is going to be addressing a request that they put about $25,000 into the ferry operation to get it through the rest of this year. There is a presumption that there's going to be money coming from the state and possibly from Illinois for next year. But the city council meeting tomorrow night is going to have that as one of the things that they're going to act on. And the tourism community and other people who are interested in making sure that the ferry continues to operate are encouraging people who have an interest in that to come to the meeting tomorrow night so that the aldermen are aware of the fact that people really want to find a way to keep the ferry operating. So the city meetings are at 7.
Mhm.
They're at 7. Yeah. So
everybody come to the meeting tomorrow night?
Yep.
Next
Yep.
Wednesday at the sports complex in the
Right.
meeting room.
Yeah.
And give your input, ask questions.
Right.
Don't be shy
No.
because all of that causes is a bunch of gossip.
Right. Knowledge is power.
It is.
Yes, it
Very
is. And for those people who say persistently nothing ever happens in St. Genevieve, well, there you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. Who'd
Yeah.
have thought?
Yeah.
Right.
And as Mary Ann used to say when she was on here, you can't find nothing to do in St. John, you're not listening. She
That's
used to
very
say
good.
that at the end of
Very good.
every
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, she was a pistol.
Yeah. And we're
She
kind of
was
at
a
the end of this
pistol,
one,
yeah.
I think, aren't we? For tonight.
Yeah, I guess, unless
Think
you
so.
guys have anything else you
Come
want
join us at the fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come out to the fair. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come to the parade, come to the fair, and have a great time.
Right.
Right?
So-
And come back in 2 weeks to see us.
And you've covered
what's
everything
new.
you feel you need to?
Pretty much, yeah. And then, like say, any questions, we're happy to field them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
what's
I-
new for this week.
Yeah. I
Thank
guess
you.
we'll say thank you to you guys and then tell the audience goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.